The Story of My Freshman Year by Kyle Whitt. The sun leaked through the window pane of my bedroom. I slowly opened my eyes and awoke to the new day. It did not take me long to realize the significance of what this new day had to offer. This day marked the beginning of my college career at Georgia Tech, the beginning of my first semester in college, and the beginning of the pursuit of a career that would carry me through life. I swiftly jumped out of bed and dressed myself. All of my clothes and personal items for my dorm had been packed the night before, so all that was left to do was jam my car full of my belongings. My parents anxiously helped me load the car, and we all headed off to Georgia Tech to my new dorm. After about an hour's drive, we arrived on West Campus of Georgia Tech at my dorm. I lived in Caldwell Residence Hall for my first semester, and we had to get the key to the dorm room before check-in. With key in hand, my family and I ascended up the floor flight of stairs to room 411, my new home away from home. We spent the rest of the afternoon setting up my room and making it as comfortable as possible. It took a while, but eventually everything was moved in, and my new dorm room felt comfortable. My parents and I left the dorm for lunch at the varsity, and I essentially had my last lunch with them as a non-college student. When we returned from lunch to my dorm, I hugged each one of my parents, told them how much I loved them, and then walked away towards my dorm. I was now an independent person walking off into an unknown world. The first week of college was pretty eventful. Even though school had not started yet, I began to adventure around campus and find where all my classes were and the major landmarks of the school. The first week of no classes also happened to be rush week for fraternities. I began to rush at different fraternities and tried to find the best fit fraternity for me. Eventually, I found Phi Delta Theta and had an instant connection with all the guys there. They were very friendly, and I enjoyed going back to their rush events each day. Finally, I was given a bid to Phi Delta Theta, and I accepted the bid. I had made my first independent decision as a college student and found a place where I could establish a great new bunch of friends and colleagues. The first week of school came shortly after my bid acceptance to Phi Delta Theta. I was taking 12 hours of classes, which included Calculus 2, Chem 1211K, Microeconomics, and GT 1000. The first days in class were pretty relaxed, as the professors explained how the course was to be conducted and what the requirements for the course were. I was, however, very surprised to learn I would have a quiz in calculus that first Thursday of that first week. The quiz in calculus for the first week of school was just a precursor to the difficulty I would face in this particular course. The school year continued to progress, and many new, exciting, and challenging events began to take place. My first big college event was a Georgia Tech football game. Georgia Tech was scheduled to play Presbyterian for a night game at Bobby Dodd Stadium. It was amazing to see the amount of fans that came out to support the Yellow Jackets before the game, in the tailgates, and the pregame festivities. My fraternity held its own tailgate, and many alumni stopped by to socialize and provide their unique input on what they thought about the game. At 7 o'clock and kickoff approached, my fraternity brothers and I headed toward the stadium to cheer on the Yellow Jackets to a 59-3 win over Presbyterian. It was an awesome experience, and definitely one I will cherish the rest of my life. A couple weeks later, following the exciting football game, I had my first calculus exam. I was extremely nervous for this first college math exam and put much time and preparation into studying for the exam. When test day arrived, it was clear that my anxiety got the best of me, and my performance was severely inhibited by that anxiety. I did not get the grade that I wanted on the test, and I became very upset. I was determined not to let this happen again, so I had to do something about it. The next week, I decided to make a plan to try and reevaluate my study strategies. I decided to visit my calculus professor to get advice on how I should change my study habits. During my visit with my professor, he instructed me on how I should approach homework problems. His advice was to look at the concepts behind each problem that I worked. He told me not to memorize how to do problems, but instead learn the conceptual basis of the problem. With my professor's advice in hand, I began to create my new study plan. I worked problems like the professor advised, and I created a schedule that best organized my studying for the next exams. This was a major maturation point for me. I was able to step up and decide for myself how to fix a problem. I now proved my independence as a new college student. The months that followed my first exam in calculus, my grades began to improve. My new study plan was working, and I was able to be successful on exams. I was finally able to budget my time between enjoying college and studying as I needed to on tests. During my first semester of college, I learned the most important aspect of being a college student. In order to be successful in college, one must learn how to act independently. With the absence of parental figures for guidance, you have to know how to figure out how life works. Whether it be by trial and error or being successful the first time, everyone must figure out for themselves how to tackle the challenges that college presents. If one can come to recognition of themselves as an independent student, one can achieve anything they dream of during their college tenure. As I move forward past my first freshman semester, I hope that I can apply what I've learned in this phase of my life to become a successful engineer, while remembering that it always takes your own independent actions to become a successful person in life.